Thank you, Sandy. And thank you, Dr. Owens and David, for your messages as well. And we'll have some Q&A, and maybe if we have time at the end of my message, we might have a few questions. But if not, we'll do the Q&A on the panel here with all the different speakers. But I wanted to just talk to you about kind of pulling together both of what Reverend Bill Owens was saying and David Pickup was saying, and talk about what's happening with this whole agenda that is behind what we're seeing taking place in the country. And David talks about individual therapy and counseling and people, and there obviously are individuals that are not part of an agenda, but there is an agenda, and it's a very aggressive agenda. And the agenda ultimately really is trying to force individuals to fall in line with their particular belief on the issue of human sexuality. And if you don't fall in line with that, you're going to be punished, or you're going to be penalized, or you're going to be fined, or some way. In Kim Davis's case, she was in jail for 6 days. You know, Reverend Owens talks about the youth and the importance of training up the youth. And one of the things that's happening with this so-called LGBT agenda, particularly as it is being implemented in the public schools, is it really brings confusion to young boys and girls with regards to human sexuality. You know, the natural growing up phase, boys hang around boys and girls hang around girls, and that has nothing to do with your erotic attraction to one or the other. It's part of the understanding of who you are as a boy. Boys don't hang around girls when they're younger. You know, between the ages of 18 and 36 months, they begin to start to disassociate somewhat with mother and associate with father, the boys do, and they begin to understand a little bit about who they are as a young boy. And then they hang around other boys. They develop the maleness. They develop the camaraderie with boys. Eventually, as they grow up, girls become interesting. Then they become attractive. And then as puberty hits, there's an erotic factor that happens when you become an adult. So those things are natural human growth experiences. When you now put an LGBT agenda into the school, and you perpetuate the myth that gender is just a product of your imagination, and you can change it as easy as you can your clothes. You can change it from one day, just like you can dye your hair blonde or brunette. If you inject that into a young boy or young girl's life, and as that young boy is growing up, being around other boys, enjoying that time of their life as a natural growing up experience, and the girls are doing the same thing, and you inject something into that equation that there is a sexual component. Maybe you are lesbian, maybe you are gay, maybe you need to try something completely different. Maybe you are a Z. You're neither male nor female. As bizarre as that is this whole agenda. There's this amazing spectrum that has male and female components, but there's also a neither component in